Hey there, thank you for watching, and welcome to Forged Alliance Forever. Today I have a 5v5 custom match here on the most amazing Noxus map generator. Let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1 here up in the northwest, ending with Team 2 in the southeast, and with 10 players to introduce. I'm going to slow it down to -2. That way I have enough time for introductions and early gameplay coverage, starting off with Team 1's northernmost player in Royal Blue. We have Zero Rue going first land as a UEF. He is a 1200. To his south in Emerald Green, the player responsible for the colorization of the names for his team on the scoreboard is Cavat, going first land as an Aeon in Emerald Green at 1900 rating. To his west, a UEF player of Cascade going first land in Chevy Crimson, the highest rank on Team 1. And he is, again, a UEF. To his west in Light Oak 10 is Legend Lore. And with the increasing build order on my screen, I'm going to try to make it go away. He is a UEF as well, going first land in Light Oak 10 at a 1500 rating. And last but not least for Team 1, it is the Rust player, Beterji Savopokan, going first land as a Seraphim. He is in Rust at a 1400 rating. So for Team 1 side of the map, we have 1, 2, 3 UEF, an Aeon, and a Seraphim, which means Team 1 does not have access to Cybern technology. Starting off with Team 2, southeasternmost player in Ruby Red, we have Mutulal going first land as, like I said, as a UEF. He is a 1400. To his northwest, we have the Pac-Man Yellow player of Signal Runner, the man responsible for his team's colorization on the scoreboard. He is, again, a 1400 as a Cybern. In Glow in the Dark Green, we have the Seraphim commander of Leo going first lane. He is a 2500 rated player, the highest rank and on Team 2 and in the game overall. And to his north, we have Maximus Triple X in orange, the color orange, going first lane as an Aeon. And last but not least, in the northeast, we have Zars going first land, second air as an Aeon as well here for his team. He is a 1200 in Imperial Gray. So for Team 2 side of the map, they have one of each of the factions with a dual major in Aeon technology, which means there are 2 Aeons and one of each of the rest of the factions. Let's go ahead and look at the mass on the map currently. Still to be able to scoop up, and for 10 players, only 5,000 mass, which means about 500 mass. You haven't already seen the match where there's just 250,000 mass on the map. That is a very intense game, and any other map will not compare to having 250,000 mass starting on the field. Let's go ahead and take a look at the mass point layouts. Let's say for Team 2, they have 4 quad mechs positions, one over here, and 2 more over here. There's a little bit of mass that will definitely be fought over here in the southwest. I don't see one player on each team grabbing one of these mechs. It's essentially going to be just one player grabbing both of those. Same thing down there. So there are some mechs to be fought over. For the most part, they're pretty isolated between the middle of the map. And that is it. And with introductions and map conversations and mass point layouts out of the way, I'm going to speed it up back to 0 so we can cover the early game coverage. And I'm going to select another player on, let's say, Team 2, and get rid of that glitch of a little the build order that ends up just sitting on my screen. Again, it was there for a long time, and then I had my stupid recording issues, and then it went away for some reason, and then I was messing with setting, and then they came back, and now it's still there, and it's annoying me, and I have to figure out what I did to make it go away. But in the middle of the map, we see Team 1's Emerald Green player of Cavan has a couple of Team 1 units, has a nice little flare and a spirit trying to poke at these engineers coming up from Team 2. It does get spotted, but the flare does get away from the commander, which means that flare will be perfectly fine to go after that engineer. Engineer going to try to get out of range of its vision, but unfortunately that tiny little flare will see him. We'll start targeting the engineer first, and in a couple of shots, it is dead and gone. There he goes. Another kill here for that player at 4 kills at 1 star of veterancy on his way to a second one. But that will slow down Team 2's Maximus's expansion just a little bit. It's more of an annoyance more than a stopgap. But, of course, it is better than nothing. We do see calm movements out from, I think, every single player on Team 1. And for Team 2 side of the map, we see the exact same thing. So all of the players in the game have left their main bases and moved to the middle of the map. Gun damage range is on the way here for Cascade in the middle of the map. He's a little bit in the middle of these quad mechs position, as well as he has a decent amount of vantage point for this hill that will come straight at him. So I don't think there's any units from Team 2 that's going to go straight for him. So he'll be perfectly fine to post up there and go for that upgrade. It does look like it's going to be a 2v2 most likely here in this northeast corner, where there's nothing over here. So a ton of map that's just useless. There's a little bit of a hill so that units can go all the way around, but by the time they go all the way around, the other team will have a way to prevent them from really doing any damage. And due to the fact that this is a cliff side right here, you'd have to send all of your units all the way around, and at that point you might as well just send them down the middle and be done with it. We do see in the east here a couple of units outbound from Zero Roo trying to go after some engineers, but they have a nice little T1 PD and Eruptor online. There is a T1 artillery as well with a secondary couple of units of an Aurora and a Spirit nearby to assist, but that's not really going to do a whole lot. It might slow down a couple of T1 mechs expansions, but I don't think it'll do as much damage as maybe Team 1's hoping for. But again, some damage is better than none. T2 has been started here for Leo, and he's essentially in the same position that his mirror of Cascade is. But as Cascade is actually going to send his forces south and try to force back Signal Runner and assist Bettergy and Legendlord on the southwest section. So it looks like it's going to be 2 for the south lane, 1 for the like pseudo middle lane, and then 1 for the northeast. Sorry, 2 for E2 versus the northeastern lane. But it's kind of 2v1 as of right now because the comm of Zero Roo is just going for some distance building / assistance on those Tier 1 facilities. Who's not actually down here, quote, in the trenches to assist. But it does look like a ton of work just by that one Lobo and a couple of bombers. Take out essentially the entire base with some assistance from some strikers. So I was wrong. This base did not hold up. Team 2 Zars is very disappointed in his units and will have to rend them when he gets back to base. But this is huge for Team 1 to just slow that expansion, as I said. And more Aurora are proving on the front line here for Cavat to force back Team 2's Maximus. Maximus also is an Aeon, so he has access to Aurora, that nice little range that they get. Of course, they are tinfoil. They don't have a lot of hit points on board like the Mantis or the Tham or the Striker from the other factions. And it's a Striker versus a Mantis. Mantis at 270 hit points, the Striker at 300. But the Striker has a little bit more hit points. But one shot from that Maximus comm will kill off this Striker. Where he could have gone after that Mantis. He will not. And he will live to regret it. Or not live to regret it, actually, would be the way to phrase that. We have a couple of units outbound here from Team 2's Mutulal. And he's essentially, quote-unquote, claimed the entire southeastern corner. Which is 2 mixes and 2 hydros. But, again, that's better than nothing. Nice little it says squad. Nice little squad of units outbound from Berigi to assist with some defensive measures from Legendlord. Legendlord just going to sit here and produce a T1 facility. Actually going to stop that to go after the Snoop and Striker. But there's now a counterattack here outbound from Signal Runner to assist in the efforts by Team 1's Cascade to go around Team 2's Leo in the middle and try to force back or isolate Maximus. Maximus doesn't really have a lot of support other than a couple of units and Zars' commander. I could see a scenario in which Cascade goes, well, I'm just going to go northeast and cut off Maximus at a minimum. And that would draw a whole lot of attention away from the middle and the west, giving a lot of opportunities for Berigi to move in and try to, again, do the exact same thing that Cascade might be thinking about doing. But he's thinking, I probably don't want to get boxed in as well, so I'm going to retreat for the time being. And there are some of those Mantis going to run into some Strikers, and that's not going to go good for either of those units' health. But there's a lot of more support coming off of just that Cascade gun range comm. So it's not really going to go well. There is a couple of T1 artillery up here, a couple being 1, and starting to just annoy the units down here. I could see, well, there's a couple of PD and a T2 one already online for Leo. That's probably not the best idea to attack at that vector. And in the southwest, it's very calm. Not a whole lot going on. A couple of engineers, a transport, and a couple of Team 1 artillery. But there's not really a lot of focus down here in the southwest like there is in the northeast. And again, even in the northeast, there's nothing up here. So nothing really to worry about here for both teams. It's mainly just the Midwest, the middle, and the Mideast, or the Middle East. We do see Mutulal moving around, going for that rock, and Legend Lord trying to catch up to him. But of course, Calms walk at the same speed. Neither of them have upgrades, and both of them are UEF, so no hit point advantages either way. And it looks like Cascade, I mean, his units are just getting battered by these artillery on the hill. And he's trying to do some nice little arc shots, but his Calm can only aim up so far. You know, he has a big head. He doesn't have a big head, but his arms are kind of limited by his mobility on his shoulders and his elbows. Can't really move the shoulder that well. But Cascade is just going to attack. I mean, it's not going to go very well here for him. He's going to go for a couple of T1 units, but I don't know if this is really worth it. Does have a couple of transports on board with some strikers for some nice reinforcements, and they're going to drop right in front of a couple of FAMs coming in to intercept. But the AA turret doesn't really do anything, and the artillery comes in, takes out the T2 Pigeon that was being built. And now the attack for Cascade. He's dropped into the yellow, but a lot of the T1 PD has been eradicated already. Actually, these aren't strikers, excuse me. These are Lobos. I thought they were strikers for a second. That's what they look like on board the transports. But they are just wrecking shop here. Cascade, of course, is not looking good. There is a T2 PD over here to the east. And all of the units outbound from Maximus have been diverted from his front line to isolate and take out Cascade. Cascade, it's not looking good. There's a couple of T1 PD shooting at him with a bunch of Aurora, and that will be the first kill for Team 2 at 10.5 minutes. I love the tenacity here from Team 1's Cascade, but he underestimated his opponent's defenses and the tactical position that Team 2's Maximus's units were in. We see in the northwest, though, Betagy pushing Team 2's Signal Runner back. He's on a T2 upgrade, and there's really no defenses now here for Team 2. And this is completely wide open. Looks like there was a radar that was going to be built, but did not get built. And it does look like Signal Runner will be forced to retreat. The facilities will be control K'd, so no one gets any veterancy, but there's already 1 star on board Betagy. Those units are just going to force Team 2 back more and more. More units outbound from the main base for Signal Runner to assist. And the units are just going to run him down. I don't know if these will be enough to kill him, but it definitely will severely injure him, as Betagy does have gun on board that Seraphim Commander. We see in the southwest, T2 gunships online going after Mutulal, and that will be a kill here for Team 1. And Legend Lord will get that kill, and it is now a 4v4 here. I wouldn't say possibly a 3v4. And Signal Runner, I mean, there's a lot of support coming in from all around. Betagy's commander trying to catch up to Signal Runner. Signal Runner is depleting those dams very, very quickly, though. Betagy notices that and goes, nah, it's probably not the best idea. Done a ton of damage to the comm, to be fair, but there's a lot of territory for him to try to claim and hold. And with the death of Mutulal, there's a lot of APM down here in the southwest that has a lot of that has a high degree of chance of moving and forcing Team 2 back. Of course, Team 1 losing their middle lane player, not great. Not the worst thing, but it's not great. But if, again, Team 2, I'd say this is definitely the side to watch for, because this is the side that is going to crash and burn if Team 2 is not careful and they manage it effectively. We do see in the east advanced range going on the way here for Zars. He has a sensor package as well. And Maximus has gun, speed, and range. Not the advanced range as of yet. A couple of radar installations will go down. T2 PD being built up back here for a nice layered defensive line. And T2 Air is coming online here for Zero. He's going for T3 right after this. And T3 almost is done here for Legend Lore. T2 is done, but is not going for T3 for Cavat. In the southeast, we have T2 Air has been finished and halfway to T3, and that is it. And again, one of those games where one team just goes straight air for the most part, with a couple of land facilities to pump out land, while the other team goes essentially all land, which might come to backfire at them at some point. But you never know. You never know. Sometimes going mostly land works, and sometimes going mostly air works. But it just depends on the game, depends on the scenario, depends on a whole lot of things. Mass income, a whole lot. We do see just throwing back a couple of artillery between both of these teams. There's not really a lot of back and forth momentum. It's kind of just stabilized, I guess would be the way that I would put it. Just very stale. I guess stale would be the word that I would go for. But Janus goes over the top. I think that was a Raider that got singed as well. So one of those mexes are down. The Janus actually going to turn around and go after another facility. Let's see. Nope, going to snipe a air scout while he's at it. But we'll just turn around and actually go back to Team 2's further deep line. Looks going to go after a couple of Team 1 key gens here. Going to just bake them in Holy Hellfire. Or an napalm. Yeah, there were. Does take out 3 of those P-gens. And a couple of T2 Stingers also online. T1AA gun trying to do what it can. The Interceptors are able to deal with that Janus, but the T2 gunships are able to take out at least one of those T2 mexes. So definitely worth the value, but not a whole lot of progress was made on that, at least to Team 1's liking at a minimum. Betagy, this is now his front line. There is a possibility of being surrounded over here and coming around from the edge from Team 2. But Team 1 could easily plug this hole that is inbound or has a nice little bleeding going on. But a lot of those units outbound from Betagy are going to come and plug that hole right away anyways. We do see Legend Lord starting to retreat. I don't know why he's going over here and then over here. Or you can just go that way, but nah, he just has a movement order and is busy doing something else. And those forces are looking kind of light here for Team 2. We are starting to see a couple of T2 tanks emerge here, some blazes. I would be surprised to see some of those, maybe some obsidians. But there should be some ascendants, yeah, T2 flag coming online as well. But I don't see a whole lot here. I'm going to speed it up probably just to 1, just because a little bit of a lull in action. I mean, a couple players have died before 15 minutes, so kind of does lead to that, where players are reassessing, reestablishing front lines, getting multiple bases up online, and the like. But this does give a whole lot of eco here for Team 2's air player of Leo to really play with. He's sitting at almost 200, where Cavat, the highest mass income player for Team 1's only at 120. And that T2 facility is going to pump out Janus. That T3 facility is online, going to pump out some engineers and then ASFs. I don't see, like I said, another T3 air facility besides just the one that's owned by Leo. And just the mass incomes here, just kind of a nice little infographic or whatever. Team 1 almost at 400, Team 2 at 350, so Team 1 about 50 mass or so more than their opponents, which isn't a ton, especially between 5 players. It's about 10 mass per second, but in terms of 4 players, that's 12.5 mass per second, so it's not a ton. That's essentially a fully ringed T2 mechs and then a T1 mechs with, I think, 1 more mass remaining to be accounted for. But shield is done. Heavy shield has been started here for Team 1's Cavat. And he's going to go full Aeon Sniper Commander plus dual shield. Heavy shield started here for Maximus as well. It'll be the same exact thing, except Maximus doesn't have the advance range, which may play a huge role if he does not go for that. I'm surprised he hasn't even have that upgrade yet. Usually Aeon Commanders have that, but we do see some nice little flanking maneuvers outbound from the northeast side from Team 1, going with some T1 Mech Marines and just some annoying units. There's that one artillery on the hill that Zars cannot hit, and that PD will get taken out. But this base is not long for this world. It's not very strong as well. There's not really any mexes, or there's legitimately nothing up here, so it's not really anything of strategic value in the sense of natural resources. They just killed 90% T3 mechs. Went my stuff, I'm done, says Signal Runner. What? Oh, right here. Yeah, can you give me more energy? So it does look like Signal Runner might control K. I don't know. He says he's done. Maybe he's just done in the sense that like he doesn't have much to offer his team. I mean, Team 2's Leo is pumping mass out, but Team 1 is starting to escape velocity here against Team 1. They're producing almost 100 mass more than their opponents now. And ARAS has been started here for Leo. And again, dual bases does assist with that, but a huge T1 land push over here in the southwest, pushing in on Team 2's western line. As I mentioned earlier, this would be the lane to watch out for, because this could be very dangerous for not having a lot of attention being given to it. And with Leo focused on air and Signal Runner being the only player over here, it's not looking good. And even if this force is able to take out this force, there's not really a whole lot of things that Team 2 can do to fight this huge amount of T1 tanks. We have 50 THAMs as well as 14 Zooies, so a ton of firepower. There is a nice little T2 Volthu online, but there should be some AA in here as well. And that Volthu should be eaten to shreds relatively quickly. We'll get a couple of kills on its nice little kill count, but that's really about it. There's no T2 flak. There's no nothing. It's just T1 spam. That could be an advantage that Team 2 could exploit. But, I mean, with this amount of T1 spam, I mean, look, there goes that gunship. It's done and dusted. T2 tanks now starting to line up here. A nice little ascendant, but again, that's not enough to hold this push back. They're completely avoiding Signal Runner's commander. He has gun on board, and all, if not most of the units from Maximus have been diverted all the way south to plug this hole. And as I mentioned earlier, this is very dangerous to have a huge army of T1 units, or anything for that matter, in the back line here. There's a bunch of T3 Mechs plus a T3 land headquarters. There are some Titans being produced very, very quickly to try to force this back, which they will do a great job of doing, to be fair. But this has given a ton of time for Team 1's other players to push. There isn't an army to back up Maximus, so if Team 1 wants to push it, they can. And it looks like they're going to start moving forward just a little bit, establish a nice little additional fire base, and keep pressing the attack. Those units are dealt with relatively quickly. A couple of T1 Pigeons will be taken out, possibly, maybe. No, it doesn't look like they will, but that's only 20 energy income, so it's not a huge issue. But again, Team 1 just pushing on the wound constantly. It's like you stab somebody in the knife and you're like twisting the knife around and shoving it further in and all that stuff. Like, it's not looking good here for Team 2 on this southwestern side. It's given Team 1 a ton of room to just kind of relax, take the game kind of slow, not really stress about a whole thing. We see Bettergy even retreating just to be sure, just in case, because Team 2's air player is at 355 mass income. Not that Team 1 knows that, but that is starting to be very dangerous levels of T4 experimental stages, and especially having both Aeon and UEF. We could see a Colossus here soon. We could see a bunch of Restorers here soon. I mean, I don't think he'll go for artillery this early. He can. Maybe a couple, let's say 5 or 10 minutes, maybe he could go for artillery. It's if this front line does not hold very well, probably not. We see in the Middle East once again Maximus trying to force Team 1 back, but of course Team 1's Comm of Cavat has the advanced range. Maximus does not, and has some sniper bots online as well, so definitely not going to really work here for Team 2. Team 2, they can see the stealth field generator, and then they lose sight of all the units because, well, it's a stealth field. That's what it does. It makes all your units immune to radar, except if you have an Omni, then that gets overridden. Now T2 mixes are being taken out, and Maximus has to retreat. There's no hope for coming back, and tactical nuke has been started here for Zero Ru. Is it? What? Oh, it's done. Oh, never mind. It's not coming online. It is online, and that nuke is loading. Ooh, that could be very dangerous here for Team 2, especially because they're losing this eastern line very, very quickly here. Team 2 needs a kill on the cards here, at least another one, to at least help manage all this incoming threat here. And at 22 and some odd seconds, let's take a look at the total mass income and situation here for both teams. Team 1 at 750 mass income, Team 2 at, say, 600. So 150 mass more than the opponents here for Team 1. Both teams have 4 players remaining. Team 1 lost their highest ranked player of Cascade. Team 2 lost to 1400 of Mutulal. And Team 1 has a ton of map control. I wouldn't say 75%, but pretty close to it. Team 1 almost owns the entire middle section, like the top half of the map, plus this entire southwestern corner. So if it's not 75, it's probably like 65 to 70 at a minimum. 65 being the minimum. That is a ton of map control. Not really a lot of mexes to exploit in this map, but still denying a third of the mexes for Team 2 is big. Doesn't matter if it's 10 mexes or 5 mexes or 30 mexes. Denying a third of the income that they could have is huge. And we can see Sniper Bots pushing back Team 2's Maximus as well. He does have that shield on board, but he's taking hits to the body constantly. Let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win the game. Again, thank you so much for watching to the end. Thank you so much for watching to this point in the video. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications when I do post. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And of course, share this video with everyone, especially your pets. But Team 2, It's fighting back with a vengeance here on the southern edge. We see a couple of Volthu gunships assisted by some ground forces, T3 Titans, a couple of shields, some AA, and a T3 missile, and some Perseus as well. Wow, this is a decent T3 army down here. And ASFs are just being pumped out by Team 2's Leo. And he is not going to stop. Team 2 is going to fight back as hard as they can. It's going to give a little bit more room for Signal Runner and Leo to work with a little bit. Yeah, it's not going to be a lot of gains initially, but again, just taking out, 2 mass, 4 mass, 6 mass, 12 mass, plus all the other mixes they've already taken out. It's starting to chip away at Team 1's front line and ability to manage this entire game, because if this line falls just like it did over here for Team 2, it's not pretty. It is not going to be pretty. We do see in the Middle East, though, that eastern line is collapsing. Team 2 Zars is surrounding himself with some T1 AA, and he needs a transport. Does have a T2 transport on board with some engineers, so probably hot swap that with his commander, but he's going to drop those engineers off. He probably should get out of there sooner. Nope, not going to pick up his commander. That's probably not the best idea, because he's essentially going to be isolated now. There's no way for him to walk back up to his base. He needs to be transported up. We do see some Harbingers trying to force back that T1, T2, and a decent amount of T3 in lineup. T1 bombers over the top trying to just slow this approach, take out the rest of the AA and whatever's left here of this army that came all the way down south to stop that push earlier on. But Team 1 is winning the land pretty handedly, at least in the Middle East. Team 2 not really pressing the advantage that they have against Kavak, considering that Cascade died pretty early. Definitely something that Team 2 could easily exploit. This is a couple of PD and a couple of TMD, and that's it. That's not really a lot to defend that position, especially with there being 2 T2 mixes and 2 T3 mixes all fully ringed. But Maximus is being surrounded by Harbingers, and there he goes. That is another kill on Team 2. It is now a 3v4 in favor of Team 1. And ASF's being chewed up here by Team 2's decent air force from Leo. But there are some ASFs outbound from Zero to help bolster at least some of those numbers. We do see the reemergence of Team 2's Zars once again. He has shield, range, and shield, advanced range, and speed on board. So Team 1's going to be definitely aware of that. Probably rotate most of what they have to deal with him as well. But now Leo now has another base to control. So now he's on 3 bases at 600 mass income. He might just go for Paragon at this point, because it's 26 minutes in the game. He could go for Paragon. That could be huge here for his team, and just pump out Salvations or Colossus or whatever the heck else he wants to pump out. Those Harbingers should have just retreated back to base. They're not going to get a lot of work done. And now we see a chicken online here for Leo as well. He's just going to pump out chickens, it looks like. I mean, if he wants to do that, that's great. Chickens are cheaper than Colossi, so it's easier to produce, and they have the Ion Storm, so you send it in the middle of an enemy's base, and that base might not be standing for very long. T2PD trying to just triangulate Zars' position constantly. We see some T1 bombers providing some nice air support as well. But this lineup here of just a constant line of PD firing into Lars' commander. He does have the range to be able to attack the PD. He has some nice overcharges as well. But he's in yellow, sub 4,000 hit points. Zars need to get out of there, or just get out of range at the bare minimum. Some of those PD shots do miss because Zars is trying to dodge. But every other shot that they hit, nice veterancy, gets back up to 4,000. But a strap bomber or 2 could easily come and kill off the commander. Nice overcharge, takes out half the hit points on board the Triad. T3 Serenity right next door for some artillery fire as well. Down in the red once again. He's working his way up to a 4-star veterancy. But to the southwest, we see the tactical nuke of Zuru. Zuru could just kill off Zars if he really wanted to, but he's letting his PD do it, and some T3 artillery to boot. Zars is dropping below 1,000 hit points, and their counterattack is emerging here from the western side of the middle. But there goes Zars' commander. What did he die to? Was it artillery? It looks like it was from Zero Ru. Looks like by just some PD. Now it'll be a 4v2 in favor of Team 1. And that chicken will retreat in the face of that Colossus on a 1v1 fight. The Colossus wins every day of the week. But if there's 2 chickens, that chicken duo will win every day of the week. unless the chickens are severely weakened. But that's like prime optimum. Like, you know, if it's a full health chicken, no vegetables, if it's a full health GC, GC wins. 2 chickens, same scenario, chickens win. Especially if one chicken just runs in front of the Colossus, dies, and the Iron Storm just kills it off by itself, essentially. So it's... The chicken's more of a trade experimental. If you can get a bunch of damage done with the chicken, and then on top of that, just kill a bunch of structures or units with the Ion Storm, that's definitely the best scenario. But at the minimum, you can just throw a chicken on the front line, completely disrupt it with all of those units trying to move to avoid the Ion Storm, and come in and swoop in. It's definitely one of, it's like an icebreaker. It's essentially just breaks the ice, breaks that rigid formation, and allows you to move in a lot more efficiently and effectively. We do see a couple of miasmas and AA to protect them over here on this plateau, but there are now two chickens online here for Leo, and Leo now on a fourth base. Look, the runner, I mean, he should have some of this. I feel like if Leo could give over whatever's here, whether it be the chicken producing facility or the T1A, it's just something to help assist Signal Runner so the APM can be split a little bit. But nice little tactical Billy Nuke online here. Almost takes out the T3 land headquarters, but takes out 4 of the T3 mechs, which is huge, chopping the eco of Leo down by at least 100. 4, actually 1, 2, 3, yeah, there's only 4. Okay, it looked like there was 5 for a second, but there was 4. There's still not a lot of counterattacking going on by Team 2. Chicken's still retreating in the face of that lineup. They have Miasma coming in to support them constantly. There's some Strap Bombers coming in for the chickens, but the ASFs are going to eat those up very, very quickly. Oh, takes out the shield strength on those. Chicken receives some fire, but does lose the Spearhead and a couple of other supporting units. But 3 chickens now being lined up here for Team 2 to use. Team 1 has another Colossus almost completed, and again, the southwestern corner kind of being ignored, but with only 2 players left remaining on Team 2, Team 1 might be thinking of just making this an assassination game, going after the last 2 comms and calling it a day, and not necessarily an annihilation game where you kill everything on the map. We do see, of course, those chickens are starting to poke at that front line. The Colossus does retreat, waiting for his buddy to stand back up. I think 2 Colossi beat 3 chickens. I think that's how the math goes, because it's 1 chicken cannot beat 1 Colossus, but 2 chickens can beat 1. And then I think 2 Colossus can beat 2 chickens for sure, because it's a 1-to-1. And then I think 2 Colossus still beat 3 chickens? I don't know how the math works, but there's also another chicken online, and it's actually going westward to intercept the chicken outbound here from Betagy. And there's a couple of PD on that nice little plateau, but that's not really doing anything as well, so we'll see how that ends up going here for that chicken. But Team 2 is going to press the issue here. Artillery raining in to assist. Looks like some T3 Serenities. And there it goes. We'll see if 3 chickens are enough to kill 2 Colossus. Both Colossus focus on 1 chicken. Definitely what they should be doing. This chicken should immediately walk forward and go after the Ion Storm. This chicken going to try to body block for his team member, his buddy in arms. This first chicken will die, but the Colossus from Team 1 also will die. The second chicken's focus fire. This chicken's severely wounded. The second chicken does run up and try to die on top of the Colossus. Colossus will turn around to avoid the Ion Storm. Billy Nuke inbound to deal with the rest of the T3 units. The Ion Storm goes after the Colossus, and the chicken will keep pressing the issue. But I don't think it's essentially a net negative. It's a net negative, but no, that's right. It's a net negative here for Team 2. Because all that mass is now on Team 1's doorstep. They weren't able to take out much of anything else. Third Colossus coming online. I need to turn on there we go. Turn on both the symbols. There we go. And T1 Bomber's trying to spam out that Colossus, that chicken's health. Dodges some of the firepower. T1 Bomber's on board the T1 Bomber's outbound from Team 1. We're facing a flat cannon from Team 2's chicken. The flat cannon isn't good for much, but it definitely rips through T1 Bombers, to be sure. That chicken in the southwest, how did it go? Looks like it was just... Is the other chicken alive? Oh, the chicken's alive. So that's a little bit of a mass gift from Team 1, but a couple of T3 mixes were killed in that engagement, so not the worst thing. Not the best, but it's not the worst thing. We do see a couple of just air scouts running over the top, a couple of Authams moving in as well. Nice T3 army being built for defensive measures down here in the south here for Leo. T3 Continental coming online, going to get killed off by Team 2's horde of ASFs. And Percy's now going to start ripping through a little bit of those defenses down here. T1 Artillery now going to go after some T2 Mechs. Going to kill that off. The first volley missed. Second volley will definitely land. Lots of engineers are being built up here, but they're not really doing much of anything. And just chickens are being pumped out as fast as they can. A couple of T1 facilities will be just put in front of the Mechs to protect them. But now we have 3 chickens. 2 of them, one of them severely wounded, one of them, half wounded. Colossus is online, and those engineers are already on station to scoop up that mass. And actually, all of that mass from the Team 2 has almost been scooped up. But essentially, it was 2 chickens for 1 Colossus. So I think we have our answer. If the first chicken had run up to those 2 Colossi, I think Team 2 would have had it. But the second chicken did that, but it didn't go as well because one Colossus was already dead, and the other Colossus was able to turn around and get out of at least some of harm's way. Percy's dropped to support this front line once again. Chickens are moving in. This chicken, its job is just go send it. Just send. Doesn't matter how far it gets, just send it in and force Team 1 back. We do see that Colossus starting to rotate a little bit to line up with his partner of the Colossus. We see the chickens now kind of spreading a little bit out, kind of fanning out to be able to all fire at the same time. And now the firing has commenced. Chickens using their range advantage to take out all the engineers, scooping up their dead compatriots and their enemies that they killed. We do see, what is that? Is that T3 artillery? What is this? This is a missile? Yeah, it's a missile. Yeah, that was a missile. Okay, looked like T3 artillery. At least on the mini map it did. And again, sniper bots trying to do what they can to force back Team 2, but they're going to be pushed back as well. Chicken inbound here from the southwest. Chicken's now rotating, but now there's a 4th one online, and that is not looking good here for Team 1. The chicken does break up the formation, but now with 4 chickens coming to bring all of their weapons to bear, and there's a lot of firepower. Now the chicken from Team 1 is retreating. Definitely not the situation you want to be in. Just send it in. You're going to lose the chicken. There you go. Send that chicken in, Bedaji. There you go. But I think it's a little bit too late. And the Colossus now coming to assist as well. This chicken is essentially isolated for now. Needs to walk around to avoid the ion storm. And the chicken from Team 2 that's severely wounded needs to be sent in. The one that's had a lot of health. Oh, they do kill the first Colossus. This could be enough. Percy's trying to assist as well. They have a lot of firepower on board those right arms. But they are going to be taken out very, very quickly due to the slow-moving balls of doom. Billy Nuke lands, try to take out some hit points on board this chicken. Chicken is severely suffering, and still lots of firepower coming out from the east as well, and artillery here from the northeast. These chickens, just send them in. I get it, you don't want to lose the mass from the chickens, I get that. But you got to send them in. You have to keep them, the Team 1, walking backward. The longer Team 1 can build up defenses, either in artillery or PD, the harder it's going to be to break this position. Colossus does die, and chickens are now going to rotate eastward. Looks like this one might go this way, and the other 3 will go straight. One chicken's going to retreat. The other 2 going to force their way forward. And PD lines are being built as well. Chickens need to keep pushing forward. This Colossus is in the green. It's going to stand up. You need to kill the engineers off before it stands up, but I think it is going to stand up. Ooh, it's definitely a missed opportunity here for Team 2 had they just had those chickens walking since the beginning forward. But that doesn't matter. The Colossus is completed, and with 2 severely weakened chickens, it doesn't matter. Those chickens will be forced to retreat. A lot of damage was done, and essentially I think everything that's dead was from Team 1, but a now newly minted chicken is now online. Just chickens. I'm saying chickens all day. Just more and more chickens. I feel like Ed from Ed and Eddie. I think I made that comment before. Just constantly, why do you want to air and don't use it, says Bedaji. I mean, I think Team 2, no, it's about the same. Oh, yeah, Team 1 definitely has air, at least from the just brief moment passing. But the Colossus are dying, and the one that's being built is just going to be ripped to shreds. The chickens are perfectly fine. Team 1's front line has collapsed on this eastern side. I thought it would be down here, essentially. There is a counterattack mounting here against the chicken. That's not going to be enough, unfortunately, for Team 2 to push back, but it's more of a diversionary tactic more than anything else. T3 Pigeons are under threat. T3 land headquarters also under threat. Transport with some Percys are coming online to help, but it's not going to be dropping there. Need to drop a little bit. Oh, Will they drop? They will drop. We're getting a little bit into the blind spot here for those chickens, but the Percy's not moving. But, oh, all of them are grouped up. Nice little AoE splash. Another AoE splash. And that slow-moving cannon will be able to deal with, I think, the most of them. But they are spreading out a little bit to avoid the AoE splash effect from the second cannon. You have the rapid-fire one, the kind of medium-firing one, and then the slow-moving and slow-firing one. But again, it's better than... I mean, all three weapons are very useful in different scenarios. Broadsword's coming in to deal with those chickens, and ASF's pushing away the ASFs from Team 2. Gonna just rip them to shreds. I've been focusing on the chickens so much, I haven't been watching what's going on with the rest of the game. What is going on? Those look like Team 2 mounting some sort of resurgence down here in the southwest. The chickens being attacked from the air by those broadswords. Team 1 has 1 air, and which is weird because Team 2 has a ton of mass income, at least Leo does, and is not pumping out as many ASFs as I thought he could be. Does look like it's going to be a disruptor right here. No, it looks like it's going to be an air grid, not a disruptor. E3 facility down here. I don't see any plans for any game enders or any artillery. There's an SMD. That's good. SMD should be over here as well. There isn't one. That's something Team 1 could exploit. There's one right here, but this position could get taken out. Let's see in the west. What do we got? Fat Boy under construction here for Legend. Nuke is online, half loaded to a first one. I almost said second one, but it said nuking on it, so it confused me. Satellite almost completed here for Zero Roo. And that should be it. There it goes. All those T1 bombers just being killed off by the lightning tank and the AA from the chickens themselves. 5 chickens are online. Engineers on station to scoop up all that mass. Team 1's eco at 1.4k. Team 2 at 850. Team 1 leading by a huge margin by about, I'd say 600 mass on average, depending on what the 1.4k actually is, whether it's 1.401 or 1.46 or 1.4 whatever. And let's see if this chicken attack does commence once again. Ravagers are being spammed up as well to help assist with long-range defensive measures. But Team 1 has the air to fight with, and that's realistically about it. They do have also a nice little satellite running over, doing what it does best and taking out everything in the back line here. But chicken now over here as well, being used as kind of just a nice little guard. You could easily send this around and try to loop it all the way around against Team 1. Trying to avoid some of that Ravager fire. But gunships are inbound. Are they going to be given the task of taking out the chickens? No, the chickens are just sitting here protecting the engineers. Billy Nuke is outbound. Nope, it's going to be outbound soon, excuse me. Once he loads it, then it's going to be outbound. Engineer's going to be killed off here by those broadswords. They're just trying to feed their family. There goes the Billy Nuke on top of all those engineers. Going to get a ton of kills in terms of numbers, but not a lot of mass kill besides that. And it does look like a couple of those chickens will move forward at least a little bit. There it comes. Takes out a ton of engineers and a couple of AA support, but not really a whole lot. Tons of chickens online. Team 1 now being pushed back. This is just no man's land here in the southwest. There's a couple of T3 units exploiting a nice little bleed, a nice little hole in the wall. But it's not going to go anywhere with that chicken coming in to chase them down. Laser over top going after T3 Mechs right here. And more artillery, more and more defenses being thrown to the front line to help defend. I thought this was Team 1's game for a while, but Leo is making a huge play for not only MVP, but savior of his team. And that just goes to show what a 2500 can do in the game. He should go for more ASF production, to be fair. That's, I think, my one criticism is he could go for that. Team 1, of course, has the ability of having a bunch more APM than Team 2 does, just due to the fact that they have more players alive still. Nuke is being not severely load assisted, but it has a couple of engineering drones on top of it. I do love this blueprint with just 2 mass fabs missing. That's 2 more mass fabs that Team 1's strategy could have, but doesn't. Fat Boy has been built, trying to force back Team 2. And the Team 1 bomber spam still in full effect. The second Fat Boy is online. Billy Nuke lands, takes out some of the shield capacity. Ravagers are being fired back by some very similar firepower outbound from those chickens, but they're being ripped to shreds now. Gunships are coming in to assist, but they're being forced back by lightning tank, or being shot at by a lot of lightning tanks and flak. And I think they'll get one chicken before it reaches the Fat Boy producing facility, but I don't think that Fat Boy is going to make it any time of the day. ASFs try to come in and protect the chickens, but the chickens are going to be the ASF for the chickens is going to be forced back. That first Ion Storm has been activated with the death of that chicken, but this base here for Zero Root is gone. They could go for a kill right now if they keep pushing northward, and I think they know where he is. Yep, they see him. They want that Billy Nuke commander dead, and I don't blame them. Billy Nuke commanders are very annoying. Zero Root now needs to move, get out of there, but it doesn't matter. There's a lot of lightning tanks, even if a Continental try to come in, and there he goes. Team 2 gets another kill, and now it is a 3v2 in favor of Team 1 still. But the chicken here for Team 2 does not make it past the Harbinger and dual Fat Boy firepower. It will be forced back. All those chickens now going to rotate to intercept said Fat Boys, and now, I mean, this entire, lower section, besides a couple of AA, is devoid of Team 1. You have this position here with a bunch of Harbingers, but the Fat Boys are starting to rotate out. I'd say put them up here on this upper plateau and call it a day. They have a lot more better coverage. Nuke is outbound. It is from Team 1's Legend lore. Where is he going with it? Where is he sending it? Going way up into the sky. And looks like it's on a collision course with this position or this position here for Signal Runner. Probably not Signal Runner. I'd say this. We've already had one explosion here, to be fair. So there is a second one. That's from Cascade. Yep, and there it goes. It's going to take out 4 T3 Mexes and a couple of defenses, but honestly, that's not that bad here for Leo. He can easily send engineers to rebuild those. Has some T3 right there, to be fair. But those chickens are going to just force their way in. One chicken getting pretty close to that Fat Boy. Takes his shield out. Harbinger's trying to focus fire on that chicken. Will they prevent its destruction? Oh, no, they won't. And that first Fat Boy is killed off. Lets a lot of steam out of Team 1's defenses. And this is one of those examples of a game where focusing in air might not just cut it here. But there is an Awasa bomber online and obviously a satellite shooting its laser down from the heavens. Tries to take out some hit points on board those chickens. We'll take some of the hit points out, but 5-star chicken and two 5-star chickens have 100,000 hit points and 145 hit point regen. And now those chickens are starting to come in range of that second Fat Boy. And it is not looking good here for Team 1. Another Fat Boy's coming off the presses. Multiple squadrons of gunships are outbound to assist. ASF's trying to, again, assist right next to the Awasa bomber to assist. There's no ASFs outbound from Team 2, but Team 2 dealing with some chickens down south. That's not going to go anywhere because there are 2 chickens for a defensive measure. With lightning tanks just ripping through those gunships. Chickens still trying to force their way through. Where's that bomber? Again, it's retreated. It's in the yellow, but it's in the high yellows. Second chicken is down. Miasma fire raining in from somewhere to assist with defense. And it does look like that Fat Boy. What the other Fat? No, the Fat Boy died, right? Oh, it might have been killed off by the bomber, the mass. But there's still 3 chickens in this mess. One of them severely wounded, one of them halfway, and one of them almost essentially clean bill of health. Laser from the heavens trying to force back this chicken, or at least kill it off. Not really going very well. Look at the lightning things. Look at the lightning. Just rip through all those ASF. Oh, and the flak as well. Team 1 has lost their air dominance at a minimum. They still might have air control due to multiple players having ASFs at the ready, but they definitely have lost air control, or dominance, I should say, at a minimum. They probably have air control. Chicken does get killed off. Fat Boy is wounded, but might make it out of dodge. Team 2 now going to divert northward. And go. It does look like Bedergy has been spotted here by Team 2. And he's producing a Hupatham T3 heavy artillery installation. Now the chicken's going to rotate, take out a nice little Continental. More Fat Boys are being produced by some Rascoms. Those are going to be killed off, unfortunately, here for them. Cavat is right here. They could go for a kill right now and drop this game to a 2v2. More gunships constantly coming off of the freshly minted line, trying to do what they can. Rascoms being eaten alive by those chickens. And Cavat has been spotted, it looks like, by Team 2. Cavat needs to get out of there. You got to move. You got to move. The overcharge is not going to save you. You need to move. Ravager's trying to be spammed up. Team 3 Gateway going to go down. And the chicken just going to stand there and eat that player of Cavat alive. And he actually control Ks, but that's a kill for Leo. That's definitely a kill for Leo. And this chicken might be in range to take out this fat boy. There's another chicken outbound, this time from Team 1. Oh, this chicken does get killed off. Does not kill off the fat boy. And the fat boy now going to rotate northward to go after the air grid up here. Oh, going to kill some T3 P-Gens and some mass FABs as well. Bombers and whatever else is being thrown to deal with this chicken. Some of those are cascading now. Just one. No, you can't stop. You got to keep going. There's a laser right there. Oh, it's just barely out of range. Will he get it? Yes, he will. He will get the laser. Takes out the air grid, the laser. A huge section of that base here for Cavat. Takes out a player. Takes out a ton of experimentals. And I think if Team 2 wins the game, that might just be Leo's move. And I think it is now coming into fruition. This attack that I have been waiting for a very long time has now materialized. And it's going after what Cascade originally owned here. No, it's just 2500 got all the bases. I thought it was Legend patrolling air whole game. And now there's some assault going between Team 1 and Team 1's players. They're kind of upset. Team 2 has come back with a vengeance, and like I said, it is a 2v2, 47 minutes on the clock. Team 1 has a nuke. Skill up 25,000 mass. Team 1 also almost has a T3 artillery. Wow, that my brain froze for a second. They're building a second. I guess they're not. Yeah, I couldn't find not half that much damage. You see some of those bombers and gunships coming back to deal with this new push of chickens, but I don't think it's going to work very well. There's some Redeemers in the mix. I think the Lightning Tank, in my opinion, is the best T3 mobile AA unit. I don't know what, I mean, it's just because it's Lightning and I like Lightning, but I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think it's, I don't know if it's more effective, but I like it. I heard it. Where is it? I heard, oh, it's down here. I saw Bomber going after 4 T3 Mechs, just trying to chip the ecos away from Team 2. Team 2 still not producing as much mass as Team 1, but just Team 1 cannot materialize that into, you know, realistic gains. It just also goes to show that just because you're leading in mass income does not mean that you're going to win the game. It's about using the mass that's the most important. The Hubatham installation is online. Nuke is almost loaded. But unfortunately, I don't think that nuke will get much done. SMD still protecting Signal Runner's base. They haven't gone after this Quad Mechs position again. Looks like the artillery is going to go after Signal Runner. Go after his commander direct. Actually, might go in after the Guardian T3 SMD, but there's still one over there. Can't use air when he has AA everywhere, says Legend. Well, that's how you counter air, is you have a bunch of AA. And the way you counter land is you build a bunch of land or air. But if you can't build air, you got to build ground. And in this case, you don't have a Cybran, so you can't build Megaliths, which definitely Team 1 probably would have built. So you do have a Seraphim player. You could build chickens, build a bunch of Fat Boys, or build a bunch of Colossi. I like how there's just a horde of Team 1 artillery just sitting over here. We see Autumn's firing at some Perseus and Titans. They're not going to win this. Oh, it's going to be close. If they had focused the Perseus, I think they would have won it. But they did not. They focused everything else. We do see more Autumns down here. And Perseus are the best T3 assault bot in the game. You cannot tell me differently. There are use cases for Autumns and Bricks having torpedoes and Harbingers having the engineering suite for reclaim and junk, but Perseus by far, I think, are just the overall best. And then there's use cases for everything else. I guess that would be the way that I would phrase that. Couple of PD line the cliff edge, but I think at 50 minutes in the game, they can speed this up a little bit. Artillery still ringing in against Signal Runner. Signal Runner actually left his shield enclosure. But there's only one artillery. One artillery should not be able to pierce all those shields. And the second one is being built. Fat Boy sitting underneath shield coverage, not using its shield so it doesn't soak up the energy consumption. It's not that much consumption from what I remember. It's like 1,200 or something. Megalith is online here for Team 2. That's not going to be great here for Team 1. Chicken being beat up. Multiple chickens killed off here between both the players. Gunships not being spammed up. ASFs coming in to try to help. That's not going to go anywhere. But AA coming in. We'll take out a ton of ASFs in the mix. Oh, they don't stay long anyways. And that fat boy, 600. That's what it is. It's double the amount. But yeah, it wasn't that far off, but just guessing. Team 2 taking out that ion reactor. They don't want it anymore. Nope, now they do want it. Maybe he just pushed the wrong button. But 51 minutes on the clock. We have chickens being annihilated by some gunships, a chicken and a fat boy. Here comes the AA. It's just forcing the gunships back. Team 1 is able to have a little bit of time to build up all that those gunship support, but just there's a lot of AA running around the map here. Crab will engage the chicken. The chicken will not get in range because this chicken was dead and the Iron Storm activated. Strat says Signal Runner. What? Where? Oh, over here. They might go for a sniper pretty shortly. There are some ASFs lying in wait here for Team 2 Signal Runner. And this might be it. This might be a push to kill a commander. Commander is out of the shielding. We'll try to race back underneath shield coverage. ASFs trying to intercept and do what they can. There's some AA defenses in the mix as well, but the ASFs are able to take out a couple of those bombers. More ASFs outbound here from Team 2. And T2 Flax is ripping apart anything that flies into range. Strat Bomber will not even drop its bomb, unfortunately. Not that I noticed if it did or not, but that's it for those bombers. Not going to get anywhere with that. And with that, that's mostly ASFs for Team 1. These 4 Legend Lore. Nuke launches. Where is it going? They're going over here for the mass, or at least denying the chickens, either or. But, yeah, it's not going to really work very well. And this might be it here for Team 1. The player of Legend Lore actually moving into the front lines. The chicken's going to come and intercept him. And he's just going to sit there and accept his fate, it looks like. There he goes. Tries to retreat, but doesn't matter. He is killed off. Team 1 at 1 player left. Team 2 at 2 players left. You found me, says Legend Lore. Yep. I mean, you were right there, right next to an experimental. He would definitely find you. Just, the bear does you going like, what the heck? And there he goes. He'll just control K. And Team 2 will win the game with Leo being the MVP. This game was over long ago, says Legend. Yeah, once this push essentially broke through this defensive line and shattered both Cavat and the air grid up here, that was over. Essentially wrapping up methods and whatnot. Team 1 did get 2 artillery online, to be fair, but the writing was on the wall. Team 2 got the land situation under control, and now this is a game where having half of your players go air could be beneficial, but you lack the land facilities to just deploy a bunch of units that Team 2 was doing. And it also helped that the highest rated player on Team 1 died and Team 2's did not. Also, that Legend, not Leo, just kept all of the bases. Signal Runner definitely played a good supporting role. Built some AA defenses. Built a nice little perimeter monitoring system to give a ton of vision. And then kept Team 1 at bay on the southwestern side. And I was surprised that this side didn't crash as much as it did. I felt Team 1 could have pressured it a little bit more, but they did initially. But after that one push, they're like, nah, it's fine, we'll leave it. But it just gave Team 2 to build up, and then they got pushed back once again. But let me know down in the comments how you felt about the game. Please, if you haven't done so already, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know how you felt about anything and everything. And, of course, share this video with anyone, everyone, especially your pets. Thank you so very much for watching to the end of the video, and I will see all of you in the next one.